With training camp right around the corner, we're kind of counting down the days, and part of that's maybe looking back through the history of the Jaguars, 30th anniversary of the team. So Justin and I kind of got to talking about who the Jaguars Mount Rushmore players are.
It's tough to do, and I love summer gives us a little bit of chance to expand and look at some of these niche things from over the years. And I saw Fred Taylor answered this on social media last week, his Mount Rushmore. So we differ a little bit from Fred and these.
Just a little bit, mostly because Fred didn't have himself on the Mount Rushmore, which I understand. Humility is definitely a trait. But we won't be humble for Fred. We put him on both of our Mount Rushmores. So we got Justin's up first. So Justin, who do you have on your Mount Rushmore for Jaguars?
I don't think, if you follow the Jags for long enough, these guys, I think these reign supreme. It's pretty easy. Tony Baselli, first draft pick in Jaguars history. Number 2 in '95. He's number 1 here. Only Pro Football Hall of Famer. No controversy there. Number 2, Mark Brunell, former News4Jax sports analyst and Episcopal football coach. Mark Brunell was a pretty darn good quarterback for the Jags. Took them from the expansion season, a couple AFC championship games. So he is on there. These are alphabetical. Jimmy Smith here, number 3. Unbelievable receiver, still the best receiver in franchise history. And then, no surprise, no, Fred did not put himself in his Jaguars Mount Rushmore. And if we had a 5th guy on this list, I would say Maurice Jones-Drew, Tony Bracken, somebody like that. But for me, Fred Taylor, unquestionably a Mount Rushmore guy. He probably even right behind Tony in terms of importance to this franchise. Unbelievable rusher. I think he's going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He was a finalist this past year for the first time. So those are my 4. I don't think there's any question on those 4 guys.
All right, I like your 4, but I like 3 of them better than 1. Man. So I made a switch. Just a slight switch from Justin. Still the same 3 guys. I think Jimmy, Fred, and even Tony are no argument for me. But I took Mark Brunell off. I went more similar to Fred Taylor's Mount Rushmore. He put Tony Bracken's in it. Tony Bracken's is the franchise leader in sacks for the Jaguars. A fantastic defensive player over the years. So I made the switch there. Didn't go with the quarterback. I went with the guy who was sacking the quarterback. So just a little bit of a switch. But, you know, overall, when you look through Jaguars history, I don't think there's a lot of debate about the names that are there. If you get outside maybe that top 4, top 5, that's where you get to that glut, that debate of some of these players. Like, where does MJD rank? He's right there,
he's
maybe
5
at 5.
for me. And I think people who never saw Tony Bracken, Tony was one of my favorite players to deal with and B, to watch. He was a phenomenal player. He had this unbelievable hook, this strip, this overhand strip when he came around off the edge and knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hands. Just a phenomenal player. You see Josh Allen now. Tony Bracken's was a league above Josh Allen, just a phenomenal player. Microfracture knee injury, surgery ended his career, but he's doing well on a ranch out there in Texas.
So this exercise we said was pretty easy. We kind of got to talking, and I think we're going to do a podcast on this at some point. The other end of the coin is the Mount Rushmore of the worst players in Jaguars history. That definitely one that's going to be up for debate. A little bit more of a difficult list because there's some missed draft picks along the way in this franchise's history.
The Mount Rushmore of positives, much shorter. The Mount Rushmore or the Mount Girvin or whatever you want to call it, the landfill of Jaguars history, far longer. A lot of high draft picks filling up that Girvin Road landfill for the Jags.
Ooh, yeah, there are some rough ones. I think it'll take us a little while to navigate some of those poor draft picks, but we'll do it. You can always check out the News4Jax podcast. You can track those down anywhere that you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. You can also track it down over on news4jax.com if you click on that handy dandy sports page. That'll do it for sports.